I went to a funeral this week. My uncle passed away, and so it was an interesting point for me to walk through. I had not seen many members of my family in a long time, and I had not been in a church in a long time. And that is what it seemed like to me. It seemed as if I was just walking through time. And I, in fact, was. I watched as they showed pictures of my uncle, you know, from the time that he was born up until his death. And as I watched the pictures that they were showing, I became aware of the fact that there was no movement within me. There was no reaction within me. There was a realization that this man lived a comfortable life. He didn't hurt for anything. He didn't suffer for anything. He was 76 years old, and he lived a relatively comfortable life. And what I realized the most within this is that there are so many people, there's billions of people who are in fact starving, and that I realized I have no clue really what that would mean, to starve to death. And so that is why I researched and made a video earlier in the week about starvation. And it was interesting and actually rather shocking, the amount of information, there's very little information about what one goes through when they're starving. And I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? Because most people that are starving are not heard and they're not seen. And even after my research, I realized that I still had no real clue, not really, what it's like to suffer and starve to death. But it did bring me closer to an understanding within myself about a saying that come up within me, was how I know I've said this in the past. I've said, you already made up your mind about me. And in looking at these pictures of my uncle and all that he had, the different experiences of himself that was on that is now in picture form, I was able to see myself. I was able to see, as the preacher was preaching about, he said there's heaven or hell and there's no in between. And I mean, it's like, well, what do you call what's here? We're here. This is what's in between. What's in between is what's real, and what's real is here in the physical. But all of this brought me to the point of realizing that I have said before, you made up your mind about me a long time ago. I've said this to people. And in looking back on this now, what I can see that I really was doing was projecting my own beliefs forward to another to see me in the way that I have accepted and allowed myself to be and become. Because we do that. We make up our mind about ourselves. We place ourselves within categories, within patterns and visions of our mind. And within that, we make up these beliefs that we have about ourselves, and the beliefs that we have about what I saw within myself was my beliefs about equality, and how I could hear the word equality and would have these pictures within my mind, or I would have these beliefs that I have made up within my mind about what equality is. And in fact, I've never understood the real meaning of equality, and am now only beginning to understand that. Equality is about realizing that we are all from this earth. We're from here. We are here. And we are equal to everything that's here. And as I walk through my past of these points, it is becoming easier for me to realize that I am this presentation of myself. Sitting in the funeral, watching the presentations, that was me. This is what I accepted and allowed. I accepted and allowed myself to believe myself to be something that I really had never even considered until only recently, within walking and understanding the oneness and equality equation. It's as though when I made up my mind about this, I chose that for everyone and everything here. When I made up my mind that to have more, or to present myself in a certain way, or to believe that a God was going to take care of me, or that there was a heaven or a hell, I abdicated myself within that. And I, in that process, accepted something about myself that was in fact only mind presentations, only made up within my mind, within me, within what I had made up my mind about myself a long time ago. And now I realize that none of it was real. None of it was even close to being real. That I've in fact never lived real. That I've never lived understanding what it is to live life within equality. Because equality means that I don't have to make up my mind. There's nothing to be made up in my mind. There's only here, and there's only really breath in every moment. And I cannot make up within my mind who I'm going to be in every moment. That's dishonesty. I can only know in every breath who I'm going to be, and whether or not I'm going to choose to stand in dishonesty or honesty, self-honesty, in realizing the equality of each and every thing and everyone that is here, and that each and everything that is here plays an intricate part in who I am, and is showing me in every moment what I have accepted and allowed within what I have made up my mind about myself and about what is here. And really all it has ever been is myself manipulating myself through others to allow me to stay stuck within a great fallacy. So what I'm realizing the most is we are all equal to what is here, and it is the moment is here for us to determine this by our actions in standing up in support of an equal money system, in standing up in support of world equality,